Hello everyone, and welcome back to another one of these gameplay commentary episodes. I meant to do one for Sector 2 a long time ago, but no time like the present. So we got 4 episodes to talk about, so let's get started. Starting with episode 6, this is at the beginning, it's the battle for Sector 8, and I really like the idea of not having the initial for the FTL. That was put in the middle, and right at the beginning just started space. I think there were a few comments that was pretty cool. I was excited to show this battle. And there's 2 types of rebel ships, 2 types of Federation ships. Those rebel ships they're an older Federation type. The kind with kind of the bucktooth in the front I've been calling command carriers. And the other kind I've been calling just battleships. But on the current Federation side, we have this kind of Mustang type with like a big flat prow. From the front, it should look like a letter Y. And these other kinds that kind of look like the medical frigate from Star Wars. I've just been calling those frigates. But the way they shoot, these lasers coming out diagonally, the whole look of this battle kind of comes from Robotech. A lot of their lasers come out at an angle, then shoot forward. There's always explosions in the background. And then we have Admiral Tully, and Terzil of the Engi Brigade, who when you play the game are who you meet in the Last Stand. When I would play the game, I always saw Tully as a woman. I don't know why. I think some of it might have to do with Game of Thrones. There was Catelyn Stark. Her maiden name was Tully, and that might have been why, but I don't think I'd seen Game of Thrones by the time I had started playing the game, and so I don't really know how. But I kept it that way. I really like it. They also have newer uniforms in the Last Stand, specifically the Federation. Tully and there's a guy in the computer. Their light purple shoulder pads are a little different. There's a little green light. That kind of comes from a sketch of the early things for FTL when they were talking about how you'd be able to see the scenes that were occurring. But so basically everything that the guys have from the salvage fleet, that's all hand-me-down uniforms and such. Even their ships are older. Sector 6 is also the first episode where Michael Killing, his music is used, and it's really awesome. It gives the show a little bit of a distinction from the gameplay itself or Ben Prunty's music. I think it makes it have its own character a little bit more. And I think this episode does use it almost the whole way through. There's a nice violin bit from the beginning of another song, and there's a silent fight somewhere else, which is really cool. Jose, though, he is stressed from learning from Agent Morocco back in episode 5 that 13 other crews had died trying to destroy the Rebel flagship, and their survival is low. And that's basically kind of alluding to when you'd play the game and all these crews would die. But Jose is not feeling so well, and then the Kestrel takes a missile to the front. Now he's feeling even worse. You also learn that the rebels have hired pirates in game. In game, it says that too. A pirate says you have some information you need, which the pirate in this episode does say. And it spooks everyone, and they begin to argue. Jose eventually says that he knows about 13 other crews being killed, and everyone gets kind of silent. Eventually, Jose, Pablo, and Ricardo decide to tell everyone about the other crew members about their secret mission. That kind of clears the air. But the episode was kind of a downer until Samba was like, "We have a kitchen?" In episode 7, at the beginning, you learn that scrap has been kind of picked up as a currency everywhere. There's a slug mechanic, he's now a millionaire. You also see in this dilapidated, abandoned, stripped space station a blackbird mural on the wall that Ricardo kind of floats in front of. And there's a little audio cue from L.A. Noire, that kind of clue noise, the and that of course alludes to General Sandoval, codename Blackbird, who you then see in episode 9 coming up. There's pirates later on in this episode. There's a beacon that was a trap. There's an alarm sound that comes from Star Trek. That kind of... The ship gets hit a lot. Jose says they will not accept surrender. And there's still a lot of feeling from episode 6. They're still at a point right now where they're kind of considering running away. Jose at least. Ricardo a little bit. They're seeing how badly they're getting beat up right now in Sector 2. And then after learning that 13 other crews had died, things aren't looking so good. So they go to a store to kind of heal up, which was a Minecraft set, which is was the hugest Minecraft set at the time. As far as length and detail and height, it's pretty big. And there's the music that's playing and the crowd sounds come from a D&D game I used to Dungeon Master for, which is pretty fun. You see that slugs eat cats. Agent Morocco in her brown cloak, you can kind of see her hidden in the crowd. There's a deactivated Lanius, which I'd like to do the Lanius if we get to do a whole season, a whole series after this series, but you know, Patreon and time and everything willing, hopefully we'll be able to get there and not be bankrupt. So Jose and Ricardo talk to each other and they consider running away for a second, but they decide to stick with each other, and that's where their strength comes from each other basically. This is a turning point in their arc where they've decided to stick through this mission, and the beginning also of Sambo's love of defense drones. Episode 8, we get to see the Mantis Federation War, a glimpse of it, the specific battle for this mountain, which is tied heavily into Pavlo's past. This is a place that will come up, eventually will be named, and sort of Agent Morocco had mentioned that Pavlo did something that put him in a salvage fleet, and why he's not at the last stand right now. And that'll all come through. You'll eventually learn about that. But you do learn that Manet and Pavlo have specific beef with the Mantis. Which, of course, at the end of this episode, we meet Liam, who is a nice guy, but also a Mantis. But Manet and Pavlo have specific things with the Mantis, so we'll see how that goes. Episode 9, Liam talks about his... Just a quick background. He grew up on a human colony in Sector 32. There's more to him. You'll find out more. I have a feeling episode 13 might have something. Pavlo, though, flashbacks to where he's in a jail cell being held by a force field and talking to Tully. They're both much younger. Tully's hair is shorter. Pavlo is much younger. Tully aged better than Pavlo, to be honest. You learn that Pavlo is about to face some kind of trial, and that the Engis are mad at him. And that's more something else to explain later on, too. You do see, though, that Tully has a tiny gold pixel for a ring on her hand. Also, she's wearing an older uniform than the kind you see in when she's older. She doesn't have little green lights in her shoulder pads. They're the same style as Jose, Ricardo's, and everybody's, because they're just an older style. And then you learn that Tully's leaving and something's happened between them. Sambo's pretty easygoing. Come on, Big Green. He's pretty cool for Liam. Tydrick appears again with the rebel fleet. And Der Dubsby does a great job as a pirate in this, who is in love with his beam weaponry, and it was a really great performance. I cracked up. Later on, you do see a red-headed rebel officer in a uniform, which is very important because I've finally standardized what the rebel uniforms look like at this time. Earlier, there had been a few encounters of rebels, and their uniforms are they change from time to time. Some they'd be more orange, or they have different designs, but this is definitely the standardized rebel uniform in episode 9. And you also see armed rebel guards who have helmets and armor over their regular uniform. And then you also get to see Blackbird, General Sandoval, who was first alluded in episode 7 with that painting on the wall. So there's more to her too. I have a feeling something to do with this end of Sector 4 will definitely bring something around to that. But for the future, I'd love to. Right now we've recorded episodes 12, 13, and 14, most of the audio. I'd like to finish this series. I'm thinking maybe 40 episodes in total. I'd love to do a series after this. I'd love to do something akin to a movie. Maybe not an FTL though. Maybe something else. But I'll have to pitch that a long time from now. But I'm hoping everyone sticks around. We get more followers. People share the videos. I'd really like to see where we can go together. So check out the Patreon, subscribe, join the Facebook. I post a lot of stuff there. Art and what I'm doing at the time, whether I'm starting rendering or whatnot. But everyone have a nice day. Thanks for watching.